let's talk about this mess that is the ICAC vortex in Sydney in New South Wales. The Labor Party cannot pull a trick here because it's now sucking in the federal leader, and indeed the state leader has got a fair bit of history around a lot of this stuff. Her best and closest friend she's just thrown under Bill Shorten's bus. At least we know Bill Shorten's bus is still being used. I mean, there is a huge mess, and I don't believe that the vortex is going to be satisfied until it's sucked just about everybody in the Labor Party, federally and state-wise, right into it.
Well, Gary, it's true, and what we're seeing come out is very worrying stuff. The thing that worries me the most is, first of all, let me say that I see no reason why developers as a class of people should be prevented from participating in the political process by donating money. That was Christina Keneally that did that, thinking it would affect her opposition parties, not the Labor Party. So there's a bit of irony in it when she comes back and says the only solution is they should all move out of Sussex Street. It must have bad vibes, because that's her ultimate solution. But the thing that worries me more and more is the degree to which there has been communist Chinese infiltration of our political system. And I think that is what is being shown in this hearing. And it really does worry me. As for corruption and bad behaviour and so on, it goes right back in the Labor Party in New South Wales. If you can remember the images of Peter Baldwin being bashed and meant to be dead and wasn't.
Yep.
So it's always had a pretty rocky old, shall we say, culture. But this, I think, for me, the concentration is on the degree of infiltration of the communist government in China, which has proclaimed itself under President Xi as being Marxist, Leninist and Maoist. And there was even a statement that came out that said the Tiananmen Square massacre was correct policy. So when we see this evidence coming out about the closeness between certain people in the ALP and what is an infiltration, I think we really do have to have a wake-up call.
Yeah, well, look, they're not afraid to take money from various sources. I've certainly seen plenty of that in my time over the years. And indeed, the infiltration in Western Australia, Simon Creek, has been pretty profound as well, with the Beijing authorities getting access to all sorts of systems of security and so forth for public transport in Western Australia. But the problem here now is that if the New South Wales division of the Labor Party is so racked and ruined in reputation by this sort of stuff, it has an impact right across Australia. This paralyzes the alternative government. This is not a good look.
It's not a good look at all. And the problem is, I think we're reading the same story again and again and again. Whenever has the Labor Party been able to prove its ability to run a party properly, particularly on financial terms? And when has it ever been able to keep its young Labor members in check? We're seeing so many conflicting problems here coming together and creating yet another disaster for the Labor Party federally, but also in each state, as you say.
Gary, there's another aspect.
Peter Gregory, here in Queensland, you know, Peter, in Queensland, at least we've got a happy arrangement where, we've got the bloke who used to run Queensland Rail now runs Virgin Australia. He sacked 750 people, but he and his wife own a ski lodge over there in Canada where the Deputy Premier goes for holidays. I mean, at least everybody sort of looks after each other a bit in the Labor Party scheme of things. But they've got to repair this because reputations are being ruined, hell, west and crooked, by the way in which some of these sort of things are happening in places like New South Wales.
Oh, you're absolutely right, Gary. People absolutely hate this kind of stuff. They hate to think that their elected politicians haven't got their best interests at heart. They hate to think that they're in it for their own gain. I must say I loved your editorial at the start about freedom, and to me, this is about small government. We know that human beings are fallible. We know that perhaps politicians are particularly fallible because they seek power and influence. It's not to say that all politicians are bad or anything like that for any ex-politicians sitting on the panel, but it means that politicians, they can be, corruptible, and it's an argument to say we should have smaller government. People in this country always look to the government to solve their problems. They think this particular group in society has got the answers to our problems, whether it's more funding or more laws or anything like that. But in reality, I mean, these are the people that want to be in government. So in reality, it means that we're better off with less power for the government and more power for ordinary people and markets, etc., etc.